The modern idea of a superhero movie has been going on for 20 years. But as someone who's always been into superhero movies, the idea of a team up movie is kinda wearing off. Every year there's another cinematic universe forming, and every year there's another Justice League or Godzilla vs. Kong. But back in 2012, it was legendary when we saw the Avengers for the first time. Seeing all our favorite heroes on screen at once, thinking how the movie's gonna play out and how they will all win and lose at the same time. Soon enough, we got our answer.
There was an idea.
What do we do?
Stark knows this.
We get ready.
Called the Avengers Initiative. The idea was to bring together a group of remarkable people. See if they could become something more. See if they could work together when we needed them to fight the battles that we never could.
This scene for me was the pinnacle of the Avengers. How the factors like emotion and stakes in phase 1 of the MCU altogether accumulate in this revolutionary moment for Hollywood altogether. In my opinion, this moment isn't talked about enough. There are tons of great MCU scenes in the MCU, but don't get me wrong. But while everyone is talking about Avengers Endgame's final scene, or when Thor arrives in Wakanda in Infinity War, I'm here to talk about the scene that changed the MCU forever. I'm here to talk about how there was an idea.
If we can't protect
The MCU was started in 2008 with Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk, which led into Iron Man 2, then came Thor, then came Captain America the First Avenger. Each movie was linked with cameos like Nick Fury or Agent Coulson appearing in most movies, and characters like Iron Man appearing in Incredible Hulk, or Black Widow appearing in Iron Man 2. Every single movie is inching towards this big moment or teasing the expanding universe. But eventually our heroes would have to meet in a single movie and team up. That's where the Avengers comes in. The Avengers came out in 2012 and follows the Avengers forming to beat Loki and stop the incoming alien invasion from taking over the world. Throughout the movie, the Avengers would fight and annoy each other, so Loki uses this to his advantage and uses Hawkeye under mind control and invades the Hulk area. And the scene sees the Hulk chasing Black Widow and fighting Thor. It also shows Iron Man and Captain America fixing the propeller. Throughout the movie, Agent Coulson believes the Avengers and even has Captain America's cards. But after Coulson is killed in a final effort to stop Loki and the Avengers unite and stop the alien invasion on New York. And how do? They do this with one defining moment. This scene takes place in the Avengers from 1 hour 29 minutes and 20 seconds to 1 hour 37 minutes and 40 seconds. The scene starts with Fury, Captain America, and Tony Stark sitting at the table after Coulson's death. And as Fury relays the situation, including the Hulk and Thor being out of commission, the camera zooms in on Tony and Fury gives a speech. Speech I put at the beginning of the video. The idea is to put together a group of remarkable people and to see if they could become more. To do things that people never could. Nick Fury voice, thank you everyone. Throughout Phase 1, we've seen remarkable things like Captain America survive being frozen in ice. But finally, our heroes have lost. For the first time in the MCU, they haven't won. And they need to come together to do what one person simply cannot do. So circling back to Tony, in this moment, Tony isn't taking his loss well. He's arrogant, so to see himself beaten up so bad hits him where it hurts. He hasn't experienced the whole Civil War debacle, or Iron Man 3 debacle, or Avengers Infinity War debacle. So he isn't as humble as it was before, and it does. It hits hard, exactly like Loki wanted. And as he's looking at Coulson's cards, all the stains blood on those cards, ruining them, he can't take the guilt and walks away. Then it cuts to Thor being tricked by Loki into being dropped out of the air using the Hulk's cage. He gets up, looks at a situation, he's in a grass field. Then he walks towards his hammer, and as he tries to summon his hammer, it doesn't return to him. This is Thor's second appearance in the MCU, and Thor, when New Mexico was attacked by Loki and the Destroyer, it was partly Thor's fault because Loki was looking for Thor. Thor was hiding there after being banished by Odin, and Loki brought the Destroyers and almost killed the whole town if it weren't for Loki. If it weren't for Thor becoming worthy in that final moment and helping the Warriors 3 defeat Destroyer and getting Loki. In the Avengers, Loki and Asgardian, Thor's brother, is attacking New York with the alien invasion Chitauri, I think it's called. It's not out. Honestly, it's not out of the realm of possibilities that Thor is feeling guilty for all the damage Loki and Asgardian affairs have caused on the people of Earth. Because this is all at the end of the Asgardian affairs. Loki is Asgardian. They were looking to dispute the throne, and the guilt would make him unworthy. Of course, this isn't a perfect theory. Seeing that he's very guilty in Infinity War and still worthy. Love to do a breakdown of that one day, but in this moment, I think it makes him unworthy. Then we see Bruce Banner awakening to a janitor telling him he fell out of the sky, asks if anyone was hurt. Before the scene, Hulk is rampaging, and when Hulk rampages, Bruce loses control and can't see what's happening in the Hulk's view. Admittedly, though, this scene doesn't really do a good job of the Hulk. I feel like it does a great job at it expertly talks about everyone else, but it does not really expand on the Hulk and how guilty he's feeling, like Thor. So I do feel like the scene could have done better, it, but at least he had mentions his dilemma. Then it cuts to Black Widow and Hawkeye as he struggles to get Loki's mind control out of his mind. He then tells Black Widow how Loki took his mind, pulling it out and putting something else back in. You can see in this moment Hawkeye is very stressed and losing his mind, sort of, I guess you could say. He's cuckoo in this moment. And Natasha can relate. Because we learn in Black Widow about her complicated past as being raised and headed off to the Red Room and made into something she didn't want to be. She was an assassin, even though she didn't want to be, and we learn about her past, her sister, and how in Budapest, which is very underwhelming. But this scene also showcases the complicated relationship between Hawkeye and Black Widow better than any scene in the MCU. Their relationship is very complicated. They're best friends. There aren't many scenes that really show this. The only scenes I can think of are the house scene from the house scene from Inf- uh, Age of Ultron, the Ronin scene from Endgame, and the Hawkeye and Black Widow, the Hawkeye death scene from What If. Nothing else really showcases this as well as this movie does, though. Then Hawkeye asks Black Widow why she's dead set on taking out Loki, and she replies by alluding to multiple things like the Red Room and needing to wipe the blood and do something good. But let's get off on topic and get back to Tony. Tony's looking at the hole left by the Hulk. Cage and Rogers walks in. They exchange a conversation about soldiers and war, and Tony calls him an idiot. Calls calls him an idiot because he was out of his league. Steve, being in war, counters by saying that he was doing his job and soldiers die, and it's perfectly normal. Tony, it's Tony's first time losing a soldier. Let's be honest. This is Tony's third movie in the MCU, and despite being countless situations, he has never lost anyone close to him and anyone around him. He lost an ally today, and this hits hard. Tony's changed into a hero wasn't very long ago in this timeline, probably about a year ago, as of uh, from Iron Man to the Avengers. So he's still kind of adjusting to the whole people die all the time around him. And I think this is actually a great attention to detail on Tony's character. And you can give flack to Joss Whedon. Like I prefer Age of Ultron to the original Avengers, and I hate the Joss Whedon Justice League. But at least Joss Whedon, I think Joss Whedon's style is very apparent in this movie. I feel like more apparent than it is in Age of Ultron, with all the camera angles and like it's weird. I can't really say one because I wrote the script almost 2 days ago. But yeah, it's basically just his style is very unique. But after composing himself, Tony finds the portal will need to be activated on Stark Tower because of Loki's ego, which is his downfall in this movie. I think he will always win. And a montage follows with orchestral, hopeful music, similar to the Avengers theme, but a little more hopeful. I think a little shorter. And they in the background as the Avengers troop groups get to Stark Tower. But yeah, a very cool scene. It's a payoff to the scene we talked about in this video. Technically, it isn't a full scene. I will admittedly, it isn't really a full scene. It's more of a 3 scenes, 4 scenes together. But I feel like I had to talk about this scene. But yeah, without that out of the way, let's get into a detailed explanation of what the scene actually means in, of course, explanation. This scene is important to the Avengers, but more importantly, it's important to the MCU as a whole. It pays off the entirety of Phase 1 and takes the core 5 Avengers, adds to their story, and even opens the story up to their future movies and everything they do past Phase 1. Iron Man gains his PTSD, which is expanded upon in Iron Man 3 and sadly unexpanded upon in Avengers Age of Ultron. Cap defines Fury by finding out the Tesseract's weapons, which presents his MCU arc in Civil War. It kind of alludes to it, but I don't feel like it sets it up. Black Widow origin is it's like talked about for the first time, and this very later. I guess it's paid off in Age of Ultron, but it's also paid off in Black Widow's actually movie. Overall, the scene isn't talked about enough, and I think it should be because it's honestly a great scene of what. And I won't say what makes the MCU great, but it's like it's how the MCU takes stories and it's able to build upon stories upon stories upon stories. It's like they literally took in this scene, they took 4 different stories and they put it all together to make one ginormous story, and it feeds into the overarching arc of the MCU, which admittedly is becoming hard to follow at this point. But I absolutely loved the scene. I think I was looking about a week ago for a scene I should talk about. I was gonna talk about either Martha from Batman v Superman and why it's so terrible. I was gonna talk about the whole leap of faith scene, but I can't really talk about that scene without putting the music in, and I would get 100% copyrighted for it. So I might do that eventually. And then I also was thinking about doing what was it called? The scene beginning of the Batman, which is probably the next video essay will be about. It's I think what is the video called? I have to pull it up here. Vengeance of Gotham, one defining moment. Because I feel like that'd be really good. Of course, I won't be doing another video essay for a while because I'm swamped for the rest of July. Next week has to be Miss Marvel. The week after that, I'm doing something called Update Week. So what is it? It's July 5th today. It's July 5th when the 6th when this video is getting uploaded. Um About 2 weeks from now, yeah. Update week. That week. There'll be a very short Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles review, which will basically probably be about 10 minutes, the absolute max, just to get everyone ready for the movie, which I'll be reviewing. And then, yeah, and then that last week is actually free. Although I might be doing Cobra Kai that week. So the next time you're going to be getting a movie of video essay, it will most likely be second week of August. I mean, I might put it out the end of this month though, because I actually really enjoy making these reviews. So as I said, update week. I'll be doing a theory video next week on what Marvel will be announcing at Comic Con, and then the week of Comic Con will be Marvel and Avatar Studios and what Avatar Studios has been doing. I know I already covered it, but I'm gonna cover the entirety of what Avatar Studios is, why it was founded, what animation style they're gonna be using, everything we know, rumors, everything. It'll be like a 10-minute video, just me covering Avatar Studios, maybe even 15 minutes. And then I might, if I'm not tired of making videos by the end of that week, I may do a DC and what DC's been planning, although I'm probably gonna push that to the next week. So yeah, if you enjoyed this, I hope you guys all had a happy 4th of July. Or have a happy 4th of July. It's before 4th of July. I'm probably gonna be out all day on 4th of July, so that sounds fun. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed and have an electric time.